Biomolecules. Biomolecules are vital organic substances necessary for the development and functioning of all living things. Small micromolecules to large macromolecules including proteins, nucleic acids, carbohydrates, lipids, and others constitute a variety of biomolecules. Definition of biomolecules. A biomolecule is present in all living cells in a chemical form. These consist primarily of substances with the chemical components carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur, and phosphorus. Types of biomolecules. There are two categories of biomolecules. Inorganic biomolecules. Minerals, gases, and water are examples of inorganic biomolecules. Organic biomolecules. The carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, nucleic acids, and vitamins, etc. are examples of organic biomolecules. Different biomolecules. Aldehydes, ketones, and aromatic chemicals are different chemical forms of biomolecules. Inorganic biomolecules. Minerals. Minerals are those substances found in meals and the ground that our bodies require for healthy growth and development. Examples: calcium, phosphorus, potassium, sodium, chloride, magnesium, iron, zinc, iodine, chromium, copper, fluoride, molybdenum, manganese, and selenium are among the mineral nutrients that are crucial for good health. Gases. A substance that is in the gaseous, or vaporous, state of matter is referred to as a gas. When referring to matter that possesses the characteristics of a gaseous material, is termed as gas, is also used to refer to the condition itself. The four fundamental states of matter are liquid, solid, plasma, and gas. Examples. In our atmosphere, the two major gases are oxygen and nitrogen. 21% is oxygen and 78% is nitrogen. Argon, carbon dioxide, and several other gases, including hydrogen, helium, neon, krypton, xenon, methane, ozone, and water vapor, make up the majority of the remaining 1% of the atmosphere. Water. Water has the chemical formula H2O, making it an inorganic substance. It is a translucent, flavorless, odorless, and almost colorless chemical compound that makes up the majority of the Earth's hydrosphere as well as the bodily fluids of all currently recognized living things. Despite not providing food, energy, or organic micronutrients, it is essential for all known forms of life. Its molecules are made up of two hydrogen atoms joined by covalent bonds and have the chemical formula H2O. The angle at which the hydrogen atoms are joined to the oxygen atom is 104.45 degrees. The liquid condition of H2O at standard pressure and temperature is known as water, as well. Water occurs on Earth as a solid, liquid, and gas because the planet's atmosphere is quite close to the triple point of water. Organic biomolecules. Proteins. Proteins are a different category of necessary macromolecules that make up around 50% of the dry weight of cells. Proteins are polymers made up of organized polypeptide chains of amino acids. Protein structures can occasionally be divided into primary, secondary, tertiary, and quaternary categories. The degree of setting of a polypeptide chain determines these structures. Large biomolecules and macromolecules known as proteins are made up of one or more extended chains of amino acid residues. The primary way that proteins differ from one another is in the order of their amino acids, which is determined by the nucleotide sequence of their genes and typically causes a protein to fold into a certain 3D structure that controls its activity. A polypeptide is an ordered sequence of amino acid residues. At least one lengthy polypeptide is present in every protein. Less than 20 to 30 residue polypeptides are frequently referred to as peptides and are rarely thought of as proteins. Peptide bonds and nearby amino acid residues hold the individual amino acid residues together. The sequence of a gene, which is encoded in the genetic code, determines the arrangement of amino acid residues in a protein. The genetic code typically only defines the 20 conventional amino acids, but in some organisms, it may also include seleноcysteine and in some archaea pyrrolysine. The residues in a protein are frequently chemically altered by post-translational modification shortly after or even during synthesis, which modifies the physical and chemical characteristics, folding, stability, activity, and ultimately the function of the proteins. Non-peptide groups, often known as cofactors or prosthetic groups, are sometimes added to proteins, and they frequently do so. Additionally, proteins can cooperate to carry out certain tasks, and they frequently join forces to create stable protein complexes. Protein turnover is the process through which the machinery of the cell breaks down and recycles proteins that have already been created after a finite amount of time. The half-life of a protein is a broad measure of a protein's lifespan. In mammalian cells, they have an average lifespan of 1 to 2 days but can live for minutes or years. Proteins that are abnormal or misfolded degrade more quickly either because they are targets for apoptosis or because they are unstable. Many proteins are enzymes, which are essential to metabolism and catalyze biological events. Actin and myosin in muscle and the proteins in the cytoskeleton, which constitute a system of scaffolding that preserves cell shape, are examples of proteins that also have structural or mechanical functions. Various methods, including ultracentrifugation, precipitation, electrophoresis, and chromatography, can be used to separate proteins from other biological components. The development of genetic engineering has made several purification procedures possible. Immunohistochemistry, site-directed mutagenesis, X-ray crystallography, nuclear magnetic resonance, and mass spectrometry are techniques that are frequently used to research protein structure and function. Functions. Proteins perform both structural and dynamic roles. Muscle contraction produces movement thanks to the presence of the protein known as myosin. The majority of enzymes are protein-based in nature. Among the many tasks that proteins carry out in living things include catalyzing metabolic processes, replicating DNA, reacting to stimuli, giving cells and organisms structure, and moving molecules from one place to another. Other proteins have crucial roles in the cell cycle, immunological responses, cell adhesion, and cell signaling. Animals require proteins in the diets to supply the necessary amino acids that cannot be synthesized. Proteins are broken down during digestion for metabolic usage. Carbohydrates. A carbohydrate is a biomolecule made of carbon C, hydrogen H, and oxygen O atoms, typically with a hydrogen-oxygen atom ratio of 2:1, as in water, and thus having the empirical formula CnH2ON. However, not all compounds that do comply with this criteria are automatically categorized as carbohydrates, e.g., formaldehyde and acetic acid, nor do all chemicals that do comply with this definition always meet this exact stoichiometric criterion, e.g., uronic acids, deoxy sugars like fucose. Carbohydrates are referred to chemically as polyhydroxyaldehydes, ketones, or substances that hydrolyze to produce them once more. Sweets or things with a sweet taste are terms used to describe carbohydrates. Saccharin is the Greek word for sugar. Based on the number of constituent sugar units formed during hydrolysis, they are separated into 3 categories: monosaccharides 1 unit, oligosaccharides 2 to 10 units, and polysaccharides more than 10 units. In addition to being the most common dietary source of energy, they also play an important structural function in the construction of many living organisms, such as plants, where cellulose acts as a major structural fiber. Functions. Numerous functions are carried out by carbohydrates in living things. Starch and glycogen are 2 examples of polysaccharides that are both energy stores and structural elements. Other examples include cellulose in plants and chitin in arthropods. The 5-carbon monosaccharide ribose serves as the building block of the genetic material RNA and is a crucial component of coenzymes such as ATP. FAD and NAD. Deoxyribose, a similar compound, is a part of DNA. Many additional significant macromolecules, including as those involved in the immune system, fertilization, pathogenesis, blood clotting, and development, are found in saccharides and the derivatives. The main component of nutrition, carbohydrates, can be found in both natural and processed meals. A polysaccharide, starch is widely present in potatoes, cereals, wheat, maize, and rice, and processed foods made with cereal flour, such as bread, pizza, and pasta. Table sugar, or sucrose, which is made from sugarcane or sugar beets, lactose, which is plentiful in milk, glucose, and fructose, which are both found naturally in honey, many fruits, and some vegetables, are the main sources of sugar in the human diet. Drinks and many prepared dishes like jam, biscuits, and cakes frequently have table sugar, milk, or honey added. One of the primary ingredients of insoluble dietary fiber is cellulose, a polysaccharide that may be found in the cell walls of all plants. Cellulose and insoluble dietary fiber generally aid in the maintenance of a healthy digestive system by promoting bowel movements, even though they are not digested by humans. Other polysaccharides found in dietary fiber include resistant starch and inulin. These polysaccharides provide food for some bacteria in the large intestine microbiota, which then metabolize them to produce short-chain fatty acids. Lipids. Living cells require lipids, which are chemical compounds linked to fatty acids that are soluble in organic solvents but insoluble in water. These are the same as sterols, waxes, mono, di, or triglycerides, fat-soluble vitamins, and phospholipids. Lipids are not polymeric particles like nucleic acids, proteins, or carbohydrates are. The primary energy source and a key component of cellular structure are lipids. A large class of naturally occurring compounds known as lipids comprises fats, waxes, sterols, monoglycerides, diglycerides, phospholipids, and fat-soluble vitamins such as vitamins A, D, E, and K. Lipids have a variety of roles in the body, including energy storage, signaling, and serving as structural elements of cell membranes. Nanotechnology, the cosmetic and food sectors, and the food industry all use lipids. Small molecules that are hydrophobic or amphiphilic can be widely referred to as lipids. Some lipids can form vesicles, multilamellar, unilamellar liposomes, or membranes in an aqueous environment due to their amphiphilic nature. Ketoacyl and isoprene groups are two different kinds of biochemical subunits or building blocks that are the sole or partial source of biological lipids. By using this method, lipids can be separated into 8 different groups: sterol lipids, prenyl lipids, glycerolipids, sphingolipids, saccharolipids, and polyketides produced from the condensation of ketoacyl subunits, and fatty acyls, glycerolipids, glycerophospholipids, and sacharolipids. Although fats are a subtype of lipids known as triglycerides, the word lipid is occasionally used as a synonym for fats. Lipids also include sterol-containing metabolites like cholesterol and other compounds like fatty acids and the derivatives such as tri, di, and monoglycerides and phospholipids. Although lipids are broken down and synthesized via a variety of biosynthetic routes in mammals, including humans, some important lipids cannot be produced in this way and must be received through diet. Nucleic acids. Nucleic acids are the genetic components of cells that carry all of the information from parents to offspring. Deoxyribonucleic acid (DNA) and ribonucleic acid (RNA) are the two types of nucleic acids. The creation of proteins and the translation and transcription of genetic material are the two main jobs of nucleic acids. The monomeric component of nucleic acids known as a nucleotide is composed of a nitrogenous base, pentose sugar, and phosphate. The nucleotides are joined together by the 3 and 5 phosphodiester linkages. The nitrogen base coupled to the pentose sugar makes the nucleotide unique. The nitrogenous bases adenine, guanine, cytosine, and thymine make up the majority of DNA. In RNA, thymine is swapped out for uracil. The double helix or double spiral structure of DNA is created by hydrogen bonding between the bases of 2 antiparallel polynucleotide strands. Overall, the DNA structure resembles a twisted hierarchy. Biopolymers and macromolecules called nucleic acids are necessary for all known forms of life. They are made up of nucleotides, which are monomers made up of a nitrogenous base, a phosphate group, and a 5-carbon sugar. Deoxyribonucleic acid (DNA) and ribonucleic acid (RNA) are the two primary types of nucleic acids. If the sugar is ribose, the polymer will be RNA. If it is deoxyribose, the polymer will be DNA. Natural chemical substances called nucleic acids make up the genetic material and are the main information-carrying molecules in cells. All living organisms include large amounts of nucleic acids, which are used to build, encode, and then store the information that is contained in every living cell of every type of life on Earth. They then serve to convey and express that information to the internal processes of the cell, and ultimately to the offspring of each living thing, both inside and outside the cell nucleus. The nucleic acid sequence, which provides the ladder step ordering of nucleotides within the molecules of RNA and DNA, contains and transmits the encoded information. They are particularly crucial in controlling protein synthesis. Adenine, cytosine, guanine, thymine, and uracil are the 5 primary, or canonical, nucleobases. Strings of nucleotides are joined to create helical backbones, typically 1 for RNA, 2 for DNA, and formed into chains of base pairs. Only DNA and RNA contain thymine and uracil, respectively. The precise sequencing of these nucleobase pairs in DNA allows for the storage and transmission of coded instructions as genes through the use of amino acids and the procedure known as protein synthesis. Base pair sequencing in RNA enables the production of new proteins that define the structural components and the majority of the chemical reactions in all living things. Vitamins. Organic compounds known as vitamins are a group of similar chemicals known as vitamins are needed by an organism in very small amounts for healthy metabolic activity. Essential nutrients must be received through diet since they cannot be synthesized by the body in adequate amounts to ensure existence. For instance, certain species can synthesize vitamin C while others cannot. In the second case, vitamin C is considered to be a vitamin in the first case. The majority of vitamins are vitamins, which are collections of closely similar molecules. For instance, there are 8 vitamins, including 4 tocopherols and 4 tocotrienols, that make up vitamin E. The 3 further categories of important nutrients, minerals, essential fatty acids, and essential amino acids are not included in the term vitamin. The major 14 vitamins are vitamin A, retinol, vitamin B1, thiamine, vitamin B2, riboflavin, vitamin B3, niacin, vitamin B5, pantothenic acid, vitamin B6, pyridoxine, vitamin B7, biotin, vitamin B9, folic acid or folate, vitamin B12, cobalamins, vitamin C, ascorbic acid, vitamin D, calciferols, vitamin E, tocopherols and tocotrienols, vitamin K, phylloquinone and menaquinones. Jolon. Different biomolecules. Aldehydes. Aldehydes belong to a group of organic chemical substances whose general structural formula is RHO. R could be hydrogen or a substituted or unsubstituted hydrocarbon radical. Many aldehydes are flammable, volatile liquids that, when left at room temperature, form explosive concentrations of vapor. The lower members of the aldehyde family require the most stringent fire and explosion safety measures, as well as the most comprehensive irritating property controls. These members also include those with unsaturated or substituted chains. Ketones. Your liver creates a specific sort of molecule called a ketone when it breaks down lipids. When you fast, exercise for an extended period of time, or consume fewer carbohydrates, your body typically uses ketones as an energy source. Low blood ketones might be present without causing any problems. The 3 most significant ketones in terms of scale are acetone, methylketone, and cyclohexanone. Aromatic chemicals. Aromatic chemicals are chemical compounds that produce odor. Since their main function is to impart flavor or scent, it makes sense that they are frequently highly volatile. Aroma chemicals are the main component utilized when creating flavors and scents, along with essential oils. The fragrance compounds coumarin, aramylkinamaldehyde, benzyl benzoate, p-anisaldehyde, and benzyl acetate are most frequently utilized in cosmetics and toiletries. Some fragrances can dissolve thanks to the soap's structure. Fragrances are dispersed throughout the building in a variety of forms.